Video game composition is an incredibly wide field of work, as it should be. It's better for the fact that it has so many diverse styles and composers working within it. But just like the music industry, we have our own legends, and their works stand as testaments to just how good we as composers can be. Look, I'm gonna openly admit that just 8 essential game songs is an incredibly narrow view of the subject. We had to make some incredibly tough cuts to get within our weekly limits here. How tough? Dovahkiin, Sticker Brush Symphony, and Bloody Tears all did not make the cut. The point is, there are far more songs out there that you'd probably be lynched at a convention for not recognizing. But if you had to boil it down, these are the 8 songs that every single gamer should know. Number 8. Good old 8-bit. Here's the thing about chiptunes. Because consoles at the time could only produce so many sounds at once, composers had to really make every song count, and the easiest way to do so was to make them as groan-inducingly catchy as possible. This was the era of earworms, where melody was king, and the only good song was the kind even the composer couldn't get out of their head. But really, we all know who we have to blame for making this song absolutely impossible to forget. At this point, Brentalfloss is like JonTron or Total Biscuit in the sense that even if you're not a fan of his work, you still know who he is. His life's work has been taking songs that we already love and making them even better by way of humor, and one of his earliest projects, being this song, is still considered to be one of his best. That's 2 pieces of essential gaming culture for the price of 1. How about that?
This was a triumph.
Number 7!
I'm making a note.
Oh yeah, speaking of catchy lyrics, let me create the scenario for you. You've just spent the past few hours busting your brain on mind-bending puzzles, constantly getting insulted and bossed around by a passive-aggressive AI, only to break free of the testing chambers, take the fight to her, slam her with missiles, and escape the facility, only for her to laugh at you and say it was all for naught. In song. That is Portal. It may not be my sense of humor, but I can definitely see why the rest of the world fell in love with GLaDOS and her catchy little credits theme. Special note also goes out to Once You Gone, which, while it is a better song in my opinion, isn't nearly as recognized as its predecessor, which is sadly indicative of Portal 2 in general, honestly. But still, it's bouncy, it's hilarious, it comes clean out of nowhere, and is probably the closest thing we're ever gonna get to an English Vocaloid. If you liked any part of that sentence, you now understand why this is at number 7. Number 6! A word of advice for those of you who are new here, try not to get on the bad side of a 90s kid. They have a lot of passion for the things they love, and that is trouble that you don't need. But with songs like this backing up their points, can you really blame them? Ducktales is one of those rare kinds of games that brings great gameplay, a great franchise, and an even greater team together to make something far beyond the sum of its parts. Scrooge McDuck will visit the Himalayas, the Amazon, ancient mines, and a haunted mansion over his journey to find treasure, but no location was more ridiculous and more awesome than the great cheese wheel in the sky itself, the moon. And I have to give credit here. If there was any man who could remaster one of the most famous tunes in video game history into something even better than it was before, it was Jake Kaufman. The man's a frigging genius, and he deserves every bit of praise he can get, because this tune, whether it's 8-bit or HD, is simply out of this world. If I had to describe the Moon theme, it has a very spacey feel, almost like Twilight. This is what NASA should listen to every time they send up a rocket, because there's this overwhelming feeling of reaching out to something far greater than your imagination can even comprehend. It sets up places beyond our planetary realm as something special, something that is treated here with the grandeur and scope that they deserve, cementing this as not only one of the best levels of all time, but also one of the best level themes. Just do me a favor. Remember to bring something better than cartoon logic into this equation. Number 5! Argue all you want about first-person shooters and their rightful place in the industry, but anyone who's anyone knows what that chorus is from. To think that I actually hear people complaining that video game music isn't nearly as good as it used to be, when we've got badasses like Martin O'Donnell and Steve Vai composing audio gold like this. This theme has gone through many variations over Halo's lifespan, and while I'm a personal fan of the very conclusive feeling that 3's iteration gave off, the Mjolnir mix from Halo 2 is the most remembered version of the theme by a country mile. This is the go-to song for when you want to feel awesome. Just listening to that guitar winding up is enough to make you bolt out of bed, punch a hole in your door, eat an entire box of Captain Crunch for breakfast, including the box, slap the world in the face, hold it up by the neck and yell, "I'm still here, motherfucker!" And it is more than worthy of this spot because of it. In fact, I'd say only one other song in the world makes you feel more fantastic for completing something. Number 4! Now, I'm with the crowd of people that says that Square has long since forgotten how to make a good fantasy. But there's just something about these familiar elements they keep tucking into every new release that almost makes me want to forgive them. Almost. It's a built-in reaction for most of us. These things have been a part of our lives as long as any of us can remember, and once something has your childhood by the balls, it's never going to leave you. The problem is, we grew up, and for the most part, it seems like Final Fantasy just didn't. Except for this song. Developers will move on, consoles will be abandoned for better models, and entire eras of gaming will come and go, but the Final Fantasy victory fanfare has always been there, changing, evolving, and letting us know when the battle is finally over, and the fruits of our labor have truly paid off. It is currently one of the best parts of the franchise, which, at this rate, is good enough. I'll take my victories where I can get them. In fact, let's see what these games have been up to lately. Oh dear God. Number 3! One, two, three, four! Back in the old days of yore, your game stopped at the door. They couldn't go outside. Then someone came along, and they sang a song about how they would provide. But now I hear you all say, what will I have to play? Well, it's called Tetris, you see. It came from Russia with love, it fit like a glove, and the rest is history. We played this game all day long. All day long. Don't even pretend like I am wrong. All together now! See, I don't even need to play the rest, because you already know what it is. Honestly, what can I possibly say about Zelda that you don't already know? This series is literally and figuratively a master stroke. A franchise so powerful that Peanut Butter Gamer has devoted an entire month of his life every year for the past 4 years to talking about it, and he still hasn't run out of material. And it all comes back to this song. No other tune, aside from maybe Wind Waker's theme, even comes close to the sheer feeling of adventure that oozes from every note of this high-energy, awesomely orchestrated magnum opus. It's fun, it's triumphant, it gets you pumped for the journey ahead, and as it gets put in game after game, it builds on its legacy even further, reminding us of both the roads we've been down and the ones we will travel in the very near future. It's f***ing Zelda, guys, and it doesn't need me to justify it. Only one other song in the world could keep this from the number 1 spot. It's number 1! I just want to go on record to say how badly I wanted to put Bob on Battlefield in this spot instead, but no matter how I looked at the situation, I couldn't. I just could not justify putting it here over the one and only ground theme. You know this song. Everybody knows this song. My grandfather, who spent half his years in the military and has never played a video game before in his life, knew what this was from the instant he heard it. Koji Kondo has a philosophy when it comes to music. He deliberately tries to make tunes that people can listen to repeatedly without getting sick of them. He's stated many times that part of his creative process includes listening to his own music for hours on end to see if he eventually finds it tiring. And boy did it pay off in Super Mario Bros. This song has starred in more games than most Mario characters. The ground theme was so popular that its ringtone release topped the United States sales charts for 112 weeks in a row. When Paul McCartney visited Japan, he was introduced to Mr. Kondo as the composer of Mario. His response? Paul started singing the ground theme. To say this tune is essential is an understatement. This song and its game are irreplaceable parts of pop culture, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Want more countdowns? Well, you're in luck. We release a new one every single Saturday, or at least try to in the case of this list. In fact, you can check out our last one on the top 8 embarrassing moments in games right here. And hey, if you like the way I think in general, consider checking out this review I did for a lesser-known game called Never Alone. It's a fantastic platformer, and I'd love for it to get the kind of attention it deserves. Also be sure to subscribe so you can catch all the new content we'll be releasing in the very near future, because boy, are things about to speed up around here. Without spoilers, Wednesday is going to be the start of something big. How big? I guess you'll have to click that button to find out.